Hello guys and welcome to my new video. With wildsunknown we slowly have to say goodbye to some decks we really love and enjoy, like Blurple. And I asked myself the question, how can we push Blurple into a bright future? Let's find out. But before we dive into the live deck profile, don't forget to subscribe for more Lorcana videos coming. And now have fun, let's go. So guys, one last ride for our beloved Blurple deck and let's get right into it. In a 1-drop slot, 4 copies of Louisa Madrigal. She's an inkable character, 0 strength, 3 willpower, quests for 1, and she has challenger +2. I only run 4 1-drop characters and I found that is enough. I didn't want to draw into more 1-cost characters later in the game. I want to have impactful cards, removal and card draw and stuff. So that's why I run only 4 copies of Louisa, and she also works as a shift target for legendary Louisa Madrigal I run in this list. And it's perfectly fine. You can twist and tweak the list as you wish, but yeah, let's try it with less 1-drop characters. That's it for the 1-drops. For the 2-drops, of course, maybe final ride with Sailor Azeroth Sea and Tipo. Both 4 copies. Our turn to ramp. We desperately need to get access to higher cost characters or cards early on in the game. Maybe it's the last time we will see these cards in blue decks because they will rotate out. Let's see what the future brings. And also in the 2-drop slot, 4 copies of Junior Woodchuck's guidebook. Basically drawing 2 cards like a friend on the other side as an item. You rarely play it like solo on the board. You immediately pop it and draw 2 cards. And later in the game, it's a cheap way to draw cards and still use the remaining ink to play other stuff. That's it for the 2-drop slot. In the 3-drop slot, we usually don't play 3-cost characters or cards because we want to skip this turn, but you have to run the Cheshire Cat. In a damage moving deck, this card is essential. 3-cost inkable card, 3 strength, 4 willpower, quest for 1. She has boost 2, so you can pay 2 ink to put a card under this card or under Cheshire Cat. And when you do, you can move 2 damage markers from one of your characters to one opposing characters, which is really strong and basically stalls like questing or challenging in general from your opponent. A really good card, a really good card. And later in the game, if she gets like Hades or Let It Go, you get multiple ink, so you can use more higher cost characters. And also in the deck on a 3-drop slot, 3 copies of the new Pepper Madrigal from set 12, 3-cost uninkable card, 3 strength, 4 willpower, quest for 1. When you play this card, you deal 1 damage to each of your other characters. And once per turn, when you remove 1 or more damage from your characters, you can draw a card. So she's like a baby draw, but what she also does is enable cards like Louisa Madrigal, the Cheshire Cat. Dealing 1 damage to all of your other characters is really strong, so you have damage counters, you can move them, and you don't want to see her in turn 3, because in turn 3 you rarely have characters on board, but later in the game she can really enable those cards moving damage like Cheshire Cat or the other cards we have in this deck moving damage from one of the other characters. So that's it for the 3-drop slot as well. Moving on to the 4-drop slot. Of course, I had to run 4 copies of Meriwether. She is a 4-cost inkable character, 4 strength, 5 willpower, quest for 1, and she has ward, which is really strong. If you drop it in turn 3 after ramping, she basically just sits there waiting for her turn to challenge, to sing, or to just quest safely, because your opponent can target it with other cards or actions, and it's pretty good body as well. With 5 health, she can hold quite a few damage. And with other cards, you can move this damage around to your opposing cards. And then a card really shining in this deck right now, Casa Madrigal. It's a 4-cost inkable location, 7 willpower, 2 lore, and 1 ink movement cost. And every time one of your characters quests at the location, you can remove 2 damage from this character, and at the end of the turn or afterwards you can remove 2 damage from this location. So basically you're healing your characters here, you're healing your location as well, and make it more sturdy. And especially against the Dale decks like yellow purple or yellow green, this location shines after like board wipes, under the seas or stuff, because it just sticks, and 7 health is quite a few to get rid of it. So and you can heal it up. It's pretty strong. You should really test it and not play it on a board with multiple characters on the opposing side, but on an empty board, Casa Madrigal is here, and it's really, really good. And Quest for a bunch of low. And in testing, it won me a lot of games, this card. Playing multiple in a turn, your opponent can't handle both, and it just wins you the game. So that's it for the 4-cost slot as well. Let's get those cards out of the way. 5-drop slot. We have 4 copies of the purple Hades. We all know him. 5-cost inkable card, 3 strength for willpower, quest for 1. When you play him, you target a character from your opponent, and then you ask a question. You want to put it under your deck, or you let me draw 2 cards. In 80% of the time, it draws you 2 cards. Rarely your opponent says, I put my card under the deck, but sometimes it works as removal as well. So if you draw 2 cards, you rarely run out of hand cards, and that's where Hades shines. And he can sing Let It Go later in the game as well, to work as a 5-cost singer also. Also, new in the deck, 3 copies of the new Bruno Madrigal. And this is a card I want to talk about because I really love Bruno as secondary card draw engine. He's a 5-cost inkable character, 4 strength, 5 willpower, quest for 1, and once per turn, when you remove damage from one of your characters, you can look at the top 2 cards of your deck. One you take into your hand, and the other you put under your deck. So it's basically a filter and draw. It's really strong later in the game as well, when you already have damage on your characters and you have already the possibility to remove this damage. You can draw a filter and steadily draw cards while your opponent run out of gas. And also, every time this character quests, you can remove any damage, simply all damage from one of your characters, which is really, really strong, and also enables the card draw ability. Also, in the 5-cost slot, 4 copies of the legendary Luisa Madrigal. 5-cost inkable card, 6 strength, 4 willpower, quest 1. She has shift 3, so you can use the small Luisa Madrigal and shift for 3 ink the legendary onto it. And if you pay 1 ink, you can choose one of your characters and move 1 damage onto Luisa. You can do this until she has 3 damage on it, and then you just move this 3 damage to an opposing card or opposing character, which is really, really strong. Also enables Bruno's ability, enables Pepper's ability, and you just can relatively freely challenge with your other characters, because then you just use Luisa's ability and move the damage around. And so you can also like pass, resist, you can do really nasty stuff, and Luisa is really overpowered with 6 strength. She's a huge body and can trade into a lot of characters. And yeah, to finish up the 5-cost slot, 3 copies of Miss Incredible. I was back and forth with Miss Incredible and other cards, but I found having an evasive option is a really good thing. 5 strength, 6 willpower, quest for 1, and at the beginning of a turn you can choose to give her evasive or another lore, so she can either like finish the game really quick, or you give her evasive so you can target opposing evasive cards. And she also is a 5-cost singer for this card, Let It Go. 4 copies of Let It Go. The removal, which got a reprint in set 9, Fabled, and will stick around for a little bit longer. And yeah, you basically put an opposing character into the inkwell, which is really good. So this is it for the 5-cost slot, and the 5-cost slot was stacked. Let's move on to our top end cards. 6-cost slot, Demona is here. 4 copies of Demona. We all love her, we all know her. 5 strength, 6 willpower, quest for 2. When you play her, you can exert all opposing characters, and each player, which doesn't have 3 cards in hand, draws up to 3 hand cards, which is really, really strong. She also has the downside of the Gargoyles. If you have 3 or more cards in hand at the beginning of your turn, when she's exerted, she doesn't ready at the start of your turn. But other than that, what she does in turn 6 is, if you already build up a board, you can then challenge freely into the opposing characters, take them out, and then start moving the damage around, which is really, really strong. So you want to see Demona every game, you want to use Demona every game. Demona is one of the MVPs in this Blurple deck. And also, one MVP I found in testing, the new Isabella Madrigal. 6-cost inkable character, 3 strength, 6 willpower, and she quests for 3 lore. When you play this character, and every time she quests, you can move all damage from one of your other characters onto Isabella Madrigal, and at the end of your turn you can remove all damage from Isabella. So what she basically does is close the game because of her 3 lore burst, and you can freely challenge with your other characters, move the damage to Isabella, and at the end of the turn the damage just vanishes. It's not there anymore, and you can do it every turn. And with her 6 willpower, she's very hard to take out. And your opponent has to find an answer for her, because 3 lore is huge, and 3 lore will finish the game really, really quick. And to finish off my deck, 4 copies of the legendary Hades from set 1, 7 cost, uninkable card, 3 strength, 6 willpower, quest for 2, and he's basically a let it go on a stick. You can choose an opposing character and put it in the inkwell. Later in the game, he's a very good removal tool, and yeah, basically our bread and butter in the game. Let's get those cards out of the way as well. Let's have a quick look at the entire list. Some cards like Miss Incredible are flex options. If you don't see many evasive cards in your meta, then maybe Miss Incredible has to go for something else. I'm thinking of the new Alma Madrigal, also a 5 cost character. She's a 2 strength, 6 willpower card, quest for 2, and whenever you remove damage from your cards, you can exert an opposing character, which enables challenging. Also Pepper Madrigal, if you don't like it, you can remove it for like more removal power, like Into the Unknown or stuff. Overall, this deck runs only 7 uninkable cards, which is really, really strong for Blurple, and it makes this deck really consistent. It makes this deck really strong, and I really love it. Right now I'm at a 75-80% win rate with this deck into a wide range of the meta. If you want to copy it, you will find a link in the video description below. If you're new to the channel, I'm always happy about new viewers, so hit subscribe, leave a like and comment on the video. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Flokki.